This morning, a special edition of The Dish with Bruce and Eric Bromberg. Their Blue Ribbon restaurant empire got its start 25 years ago this fall with the original Blue Ribbon Brasserie here in New York. Considered a cradle of today's culinary scene, it was a hangout for some then unknown chefs who would go on to become some of the biggest restaurateurs in the world. I recently sat down with the founders and tasted the timeless appeal of Blue Ribbon.
All right, so this is a little trifecta of definitely fun food at Blue Ribbon.
Right.
You're definitely using some fingers and kind of having fun.
From fondue to poo-poo platters to their famous fried chicken, Eric and Bruce Bromberg say the secret to Blue Ribbon is a brotherly love of eating.
Ever since we were young, ribs were just like always the highlight for me. So it's just that situation of let's make things that we love.
There you go.
And
see, that makes, almost brings a tear to his eye.
I almost can't speak while that's happening.
The chefs behind this finger food were actually classically trained at La Cordon Bleu in Paris.
Look at that teamwork.
But they found cooking in three-star restaurants far from satisfying.
One of the things that really struck me was none of my friends could come to those restaurants. They were so expensive, so exclusive. But why don't we just take the technique of fine cooking, let's apply it to everything we learned, and let's make it accessible to everyone.
They opened the Blue Ribbon Brasserie on Sullivan Street in Soho on November 3rd, 1992. Kimball Kramer showed up just a few days later. He's been coming back up to 5 times a week ever since.
I saw a new restaurant, walked in, and liked it. Food was outstanding. I was looking for a hangout place, and I knew I had found it.
It all began in this, tiny little hole in the wall. This was 2 apartments that we joined together and, kind of had this idea of just making a good restaurant.
They started with a simple notion.
What is Blue Ribbon? It's first prize, it's the best thing. It sounded American. The translation of cordon bleu is Blue Ribbon. So it all kind of came together.
It was more of an idea, and I think that's what Blue Ribbon meant to us. It was this concept, it was this heart and soul of everything we had done growing up as kids.
You used to actually play restaurant.
We played restaurant, but we pretty much just played Benihana.
Benihana was the
we were
the
pretty
whole
into
thing.
Benihana. That whole concept
Seeing a chef in front of us was just the coolest thing in the world.
And we'd always try to order shrimp cocktail, which our dad never let us do. And it has been a special at Blue Ribbon for 25 years now.
Just because of that.
Just because of that. It is a special every single night.
The Brombergs credit their father, an attorney, for their insatiable appetite.
It was always about that next meal. Summer camp in Maine, there were stops along the way where it was, pizzas in New Haven and clam chowder at this place and the lobster at this place. Where are we going in Chinatown in New York? Where do you get the best egg roll? Where do you get the best fondue? Everything was about the meal.
But as they were getting ready to open Blue Ribbon, there was one key ingredient missing.
We didn't really know what the menu was going to be, and at one point, literally a couple days before opening, Eric's wife, Ellen, was like, guys, we need to print menus. We need lists. What are you doing?
Blue Ribbon, which stayed open till 4 in the morning, would become a late-night hangout for up-and-coming chefs coming off their shifts.
It was that time when the entire culinary scene was giving birth, in a sense. And the group of people, whether it was Danielle and his team or Bobby and his team, Mario. Mario was the sous chef at a local Italian place. He had just moved from Seattle.
Right.
And he would come in every single night and sit at the bar, and we all just hung out. This dish, I think, resonated with the chef world more than any other dish.
It's the beef marrow and oxtail marmalade that they would eat in Paris.
They call them au samoil, and we would look at each other and be like, this is ridiculous. It's better than foie gras. But we had never heard of it before. We hadn't seen it in any books.
It's delicious.
It's crazy, right? It's one of those things.
That is delicious.
It should never be messed with. Yeah, we may never make a dish better than that.
As perfect a dish as exists. Just sitting here again and thinking of how many different people have sat at this table over the years, from President Clinton to Mick Jagger to
the chefs that we grew up learning about and idolizing.
Danielle or Jean-Georges or any of these people coming in and saying, like, this is the greatest place I've ever been to. And we're like,
it wasn't like this is the best
what?
dish I've ever had.
Right.
It wasn't that. It was that they saw something different in Blue Ribbon. There was something different going on here.
That something different helped the Brombergs turn Blue Ribbon Brasserie into the Blue Ribbon Empire, operating 20 restaurants from fried chicken to sushi around the country over the last 25 years. So is this more fun than the Benihana as kids, having this?
this is more adult fun, I would say. Yeah.
Eating like this is, I think, ultimately what makes us really happy. And thankfully, it makes some other people happy, too.
Started as a family affair, still is, and you can taste the love in their food.
I love that they played restaurant as kids, and especially that they played Benihana.